Good morning. What's up, everybody? I've been feeling, what's the word? I'm in deep thought today, so this may not be a good live feed. I'm in deep thought. We'll go over the low board stuff if you want, but I'm in deep thought today. And we'll get to the comments. We'll let some people get in here. I hope you all are doing well. I hope you're all staying safe. I hope that life is treating you well. Life is short. So, you get on Facebook and you see a lot of pain, a lot of misery, a lot of people suffering. I mean, I got an acquaintance, an old band acquaintance that just lost his wife due to cancer. Um, a friend's grandbaby, being born preemie. They're dealing with some stuff. So it's so maybe on Facebook probably isn't the best thing in the morning. But I was in deep thought before that. You have these moments of clarity, and I'm just rambling now. So throw all the trucking stuff out the window for a minute. Just rambling, and I woke up with some clarity on quite a few things, and we're going to talk about that. So, you want one of these cups, Shannon? One of these like trucking cups? There's only one way to get one of these. Make sure your ladder can reach the bottom of the hole your thoughts can dig. That is absolutely true, Clyde. That's true. And look, it's not me dwelling on negative things. It's just a part of life, right? As I've gotten older and calmer and wiser, and realized some of the idiotic stuff I've done, I used to beat myself up for it. That's how I became 400 pounds. As I used to beat myself up for it, and now I don't do that anymore. I've forgiven myself for the mistakes that I've made, and that's an important thing. So, but yeah, there's only one way to get this mug, Shannon, and you're not there yet because you still got to pay off your truck. Unless Jeff wants to be generous. But anyways, we'll do some shout outs, and then I want to talk about something, because I think that there's a lot of people struggling right now that haven't asked the important question. I know that I'm asking that important question for myself. All right. Anyways, let's do some shout outs. Schmitty Trucker, good morning. Good to see you. How are you doing? Max Force, what's up? John Stroud, hello. Sterling says, we trucking. Good deal. Daryl Worth, good morning. Shannon says, good morning, everyone. John Stroud says, morning again. Don, what's up? Hello. CDN. Wheelburner, good morning, Vietnam. No, sorry, I'm in Chicago. That's right. I'm in Chicago. Good morning, Chicago. Does it feel like Vietnam? There's no jungle though. It's a city jungle. It's a Guns N' Roses jungle. Now you got that song in your head, don't you? Ratman Road in morning from Alpha Turkey, New Mexico. Well, that's good. Alpha Turkey. Did you take a left turn? Desert Okie Pam, good morning. Shannon says Chirac. Chirac. That's funny. I mean, it's funny, but it's not funny, Shan needs a Miami dry van to Texas. It's probably a good idea. John, what's up again? Sage Live Outcast. Hurt, I hear. Glad to see your English is doing well. Let's see. Hey, I want one of those cups. We already mentioned that. And you're right. And Clyde, look, I don't want anybody to take this of me dwelling on the negative, because I'm not. I really not. Is I get accused of that all the time. Maybe there's something there. Where there's smoke, there's fire. But I guess I'm more of a realist. I can't sit there and pretend that the world is great, but I also can't sit there and dwell in the negativity. So I'm always in the middle. I'm the middle guy. I'm not far left. I'm not far right. I'm in the middle when it comes to politics. I'm in the middle when it comes to policies and government, and I'm in the middle when it comes to dealing with. I see things differently. When I see people lashing out on YouTube, I look at something a little bit different. Like, I look at that as like, okay, what's going on in their life that they need this distraction? And and here's the thing. So one of the ways that I became 400 pounds as a truck driver is that, even though, like, especially in the Schneider days, even though I was doing well with the business, there's a certain kind of anxiety that makes you just kind of shut down and become lazy. There's a certain part of anxiety that makes you go, um, that makes you, or stress level just has you shut down. And so what I would do is I'd get my Popeyes chicken, and or some other horrible thing for me, and sit there and binge watch Netflix. I wasn't doing anything to help my business. Now, the business was running well. It was kind of on cruise control at that point. It was back when I had to have the Kenworth at Schneider, and things were going well. I mean, but I found myself not improving, not progressing. I found myself just existing, just surviving. And I don't know where my mindset would be if I was still there. And that's important. What changed? Well, I mean, me going to the spot market and hanging out with better business minded people kind of got me out of that rut. And then once I changed my diet, then things just kind of progressed from there. A lot of my insight came from the clarity, and I found myself feeling very clear this morning about a lot of things. And without getting too many details, it's kind of in, I was sitting there like, do I go live this morning? People like the morning show, and if so, what am I going to talk about? Because the low boards are the low boards, right? And yeah, I promote the 123 low board, but that's not the sole purpose of this channel. And we can look at the low boards, and I can show you the green states, but maybe I need to show how I look at the low board and how I approach the low board, and some ideas that might think outside the box, and maybe a different approach that you're not seeing. Because I've had several people call me this week struggling, and and they're not feeling good about things right now, and so people come to me for advice, and I'm not sure why, because I struggle with things as well. And so, but maybe it's because I'm a good listener, and that's maybe that's it. So I don't know. So anyways, Bull of Woods, what's up? Mr. Charles, good morning. That's an awesome accomplishment, Snorelord. um Grafton, what's up? Truck with T-Bone, good morning, everyone. Well, except Mr. Charles. What do you got against Chucky? Greg Zimmer, good morning. Okay, just checking. This time of year, depressing thoughts. Grab another garum gases on it. Clyde, I appreciate that. That's why I like you. I mean, you're a good friend as well, and I hope you're doing well. I know that having your own carrier can be a struggle at times, but I hope you're doing well. Now, when it comes to the holidays, my only issue with the holidays is that there's two things that kind of bring me down during the holidays. Number one is the hypocrisy. This is supposed to be the wonderful time of year. This is supposed to be when we're thinking about, you know, giving to each other and fellowship and all that. And it's not. All it is just a big traffic hassle around town. People are pushing and elbowing each other for crap that you don't need, like Black Friday. And it completely misses the point, to the point that, like, our Christmas is not very, we don't do a whole lot of stuff anymore. We do events like, do we go out to a show in Branson, for the kids and all that's what we do now. Something you want, something you need, and something to read. And that should be the gift amount. These, but people will elbow each other for the sake of getting that gift at the store. People have lost their minds. But then the other part is, this is when I miss my dad the most. Holidays are a time of reflection because, the new year, it's the end of the year. My birthday is at the beginning of the year, so it's kind of like a reflective moment for me. What did I do well? What did I not do well? And we have a gratitude jar. So we have a pad of little post-it notes that we keep by the gratitude jar. And every New Year's Eve, we will, so every time something good happens throughout the year, we write it down, we put it in the jar. And then at the end of the year, we read it during New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. And then you can go as far as burning it in a burn pile, to kind of symbolize that this is a new year. So we do weird things like that, but the gratitude jar is something that that's one of the positives of Facebook is when you post something awesome that's happened to you on Facebook, and then your Facebook memory comes up. Oh yeah, that was a good day, when I did this, this, and this. And I find that even though I think that I'm not that negative, I look at my Facebook posts from years past. I'm like, holy crap, I was miserable. Didn't even realize it. So, anyways, so thank you, Clive, for checking. Well, morning to you too, T-Bone. Try going back to bed and get on the happy side. Everyone's crazy in New Jersey. Yes. Is everyone crazy in New Jersey? Yes, Nomadic Brit. It's been like that for many years, and it's only getting worse. So the quicker you can get out of there, the better. Hope you got paid well to go in there. Let's see. That's the entire. No, once you get in the country, it's not too bad, but still. SST. When there's no flight or fight, we humans go towards sedation. That is true. Shannon, thank you for coming on today. It always cheers me up. Well, good. Spectre, what's up? Good morning. Jerome, good morning. CDN, nothing wrong with deep thoughts. It means your emotions are not affecting decisions. That is CDN, that is the most important thing, I think, in this in any climate. I don't care if the rates are good or the rates are bad or the fuel's high or the fuel's low. It doesn't matter. I think that emotions, and look, I love watching the show Shark Tank. It really kind of shows you, like, if someone's led by emotion but yet their numbers suck, you notice that they never sign those people on, right? Unless they see an opportunity, like there is a profitability option, but that's when they're like, oh, we'll help you out for 25%, something like that. And that's essentially what businesses do. And so when I know a couple of drivers right now that are making bad decisions based off emotion. And sometimes buying a truck is an emotion. Like you want to enter the world of being an owner operator for a title. Then I know people that wanted to buy a truck because they want to truly be business owners. Which one made that decision away from the emotions? And I admit that when I bought my first truck, I was not set up correctly. A little bit of luck, a little bit of worst case scenario preparation, and that enabled me to soldier through it as I learned the hard way. And luckily it didn't take me out. And so I feel very blessed that it didn't take me out. So if I can share some of my knowledge of when my emotions got the best of me, then I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There's a lot of things that I can do better, should do better, and could do better. And that's how I approach everything. Because that's what's important. And so when I title the video, This Is Gonna Hurt, this is gonna strike true through a lot of people watching this right now. Is what you're doing right now, is what you're doing sustainable? That's the question. That's the ultimate question right there. Specters talk about profitability. Do you have profitability? Anybody can go out there, book a load, make money, but is it profitable? Right? So I'm going to take it to the next level because that's a great question, Spectre. You brought that up in a live feed years ago, a couple of years ago. And I remember that. It stood out. So my question to everyone here is what you're doing now sustainable? Because we can all say, hey, you just got to survive the storm, blah, blah, blah. Here's the reality. Fuel is going down. Discounts have gone up. You can now get fuel under $4 a gallon here in Missouri. And all these people that wanted to shove the brokers in their face the high fuel prices, now what? Now what do you tell them? Now when you're asking for that $200 or $300 or $400 extra dollars, what are they going to do? They're going to put that right back in your face. Well, fuel's down. So now I can be $300 less than the 15-day. So that method of negotiating is not sustainable. That's what I'm talking about. God watches over children and fools, and I am a fool, right? I am a fool. So I'm not sure if that's an insult or a compliment. But sustainable. So, and I'm going to bring Ratman into this picture here. So there was a point I did a video. It was when I did my morning coffee thoughts recorded. He called me up and we talked about that video, and he said, sometimes just surviving is, you should always progress forward, but sometimes surviving is just that. It's you're not going backwards. You're doing okay, right? And hold on. And we were talking about, and so it kind of brought me up a little bit. It inspired me, and Ratman inspires me because he took a business from a single garage to what he's got now, and he's got a lot, right? He's got a lot, but the most important thing he's got is his health. But sustainable, like even if you're a company driver, not making truck payments or whatever, is what you're doing sustainable for your home? Is what you're doing sustainable for your relationships? Is what you're doing now? What are you eating now? Is that sustainable to your health? And that is a question that most people are afraid. I almost said afraid. That would have been dumb. That is a question that most people are afraid to answer because once you do, you may not like that answer. Now, I'm gonna pick on Sterling for a second. Sterling saw a situation that wasn't sustainable, both mentally, physically, and financially, and so he changed it. And having the bravery to do that, I, I have nothing but respect for you. Okay. So when people talk about, oh, these owner operators that have failed, no, just because you sold your truck doesn't you don't call that a failure. You might call it a setback, you might call it a change, but if you call it a failure, well, that puts a negative term on something that is just a change. Hold on a second. Gotta love it when a driver doesn't communicate with the broker. It's not even a driver I dispatch. So gotta love it. Anyways, sorry. Um, that ruined my thought here. So, anyways, sustainability. So failure. People say, well, failure is not an option. No, but it's okay to punt the ball, regroup, use your defense for a minute, and hope that you can make a play with the defense. I mean that's kind of that's kind of how I look at it, right? So these people that will berate somebody else because they failed. Oh, look, they failed at that company. They failed at this company. They failed doing that. So if I stopped dispatching or if I sold my truck, would you guys call me a failure? That's an honest question. Put in the comments whether you think I'm a failure if I was to sell my truck and give up dispatch. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna. You guys actually answer that question. No, maybe. Let's see. Santa ain't real, y'all. Okay. Very random. Thank you. Break up. He gives you nothing. He's never around. He's so fake. I wasn't afraid. I was kind of ashamed. Time for doing better. And there's nothing to be ashamed of, Sterling. There really isn't. Good thing no one's able to lip read. Or are they? I believe the logistics industry is too easy to enter. I use logistics, not trucking, and this includes brokers, freight forwarders, owner operators, warehouse start with no detailed written business plan. 100% they're CDN. That's the thing. When you look at the, when you got drivers on YouTube bitching about rates and bitching about the brokers, you have literally no clue of the level of intensity that is the actual freight industry. There are so many levels and micro levels, you have no idea. And so for a man that likes, I'm a man that likes to simplify things. You cannot simplify the freight industry without leaving some part of it out. Everything from that stupid thing from Amazon that you ordered that you don't need to, a big water tank that needs to go across town. It's all part of the same game, but there's so many different levels of that game. In fact, if you dwell on all of it, it will hurt your head. And so all these people are like, well, the brokers don't have any investment, blah, 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 blah. No, I've got proof that they do. Yes, there is a big risk being the driver on a load. You don't eat right, you don't sleep right, you're in danger all the time. You probably save about 10 lives a day if you're careful with your truck, by not killing people that are being ignorant, around the vehicle. Yes, that is what you signed up to do. So this whole we're entitled to this, we're entitled to that. Do you see ambulance drivers on YouTube bitching about how they're entitled to a whole lot? Do you see cops doing that? Do you see the military doing that? And so that's part of the mentality that's taking people out right now. And yes, the trucking industry is too easy to get into, which is why the turnover rate's through the roof. You might have a town of 10,000 people and 5,000 of them have CDLs, but only 100 of them actually do CDL work. Why? Because the other thousands tried it and failed or didn't want to do it. I just got tired. No fear, no shame, just tired. Right? It's at the end of the month. You're still broke, but all your bills are paid. And then there's food on the table. You succeed. There you go. Right there. That's what a lot of people aren't seeing right now. If at the and that was driven home to me on at Landstar. He actually had a question. We go over all of our costs. Our gross cost per mile, our net cost per mile, and he literally made us all do the person in orientation made us all do a business plan right there. I mean, that should have been done before, but hey, why not, right? And so he goes, okay, so your gross cost is this. If your cost is $225 a mile and that's all you see, and that's what you're averaging, are you making money? And someone said no. Well, what do you mean? You've got your maintenance money, you've got your food, you've got your truck payment, you've got your trailer payment, you got your house payment, you got everything. So are you making money? And it was amazing how many people that wouldn't get it, right? Wheelburner says nope, not a failure. I sold my truck last December. Boulder Wood says not a failure. Big Rig CO says yes. Max Horse says no. CDN says absolutely not. Because of my maturity, I respect change. There you go. It's not what we think; it's what you think. What you need to do. And look, guys, I'm not thinking about selling my truck, and I'm not giving up the dispatch service. Don't worry about that. Okay. But I do know that when I get in the truck and I do a video from there, and I say the words "I have failed," boom, I'll get 1,000 views on that thing. Either because they can relate to it or they don't like me and they want me to fail. So Big Rig CO just made himself look bad. I think he wants me to fail. No, not failure. Your life choices should be measured by you and your wife only. Maybe if you shave that beard, that would be a failure. That's probably true. That's probably true. Not failure, pivot. See, that's the mindset that changes people. You look at it as a pivot. And again, I'm not giving Jeff, if you're watching, I'm not giving up the dispatch. I'm not giving up my truck. But I do know somebody that filed bankruptcy yesterday. Is filing bankruptcy. By the way, if you're buying a truck from somebody, make sure that their financial foot is pretty secure so you don't lose your truck. Or do you sell the truck and have now and the situation changes by a different one later? Pam, there's somebody I was trying to convince of that because they're paying way too much money for that truck. And now that prices are coming down, that's a decent pivot, you know? That's a good pivot. T-Bone says, would I be wrong in saying failure to adjust and adapt as needed makes you a failure? Correction can cause you to fail. There you go. The failure to accept the change and do better with the change, that is where the true failure is, right? I know somebody that's going out of business pretty soon, and they're seeing this as a whole learning experience. I said, well, you'll come back even stronger. What is truly sad is more people get enjoyment these days from watching somebody fail than watching somebody succeed. Right. And I believe that's why some YouTube channels have a lot of numbers. And maybe that's why my numbers increase. People want to see me fail. Ask carrier with W-2 drivers how much hiring and training costs them each year, plus maintenance and repairs on equipment. It's not all glory. Shark Tank has never invested in a logistics company. That's true. You never seen someone go, hey, I got a great idea. I want you to buy into my trucking company. If you're putting the band back together, then no. That's a good question. That's a good statement. A lot of people in business would be a lot better off if they gave up the paycheck mentality. Monthly, quarterly, and yearly numbers is what breaks you. Based on your original goal, you have failed to achieve it. But goals can change, right? So this time of year to wrap up your books and close up shop. Look, I'm not going anywhere. So I do have goals, and I have achieved. I mean that's look. I haven't run a load in 176 days. That was the last time I was on duty on my e-logs, and it's been a struggle. Don't get me wrong. And there are some weeks where I don't make jack, but I get a lot done around the house. And then there are weeks that nothing gets done around the house, and I've made pretty good coin. And so I see the advantages, and I'm starting to look. Here's the thing: I'm self-analyzing what I'm doing, and how can I make it more sustainable. If you ask the question, is this sustainable, and you say no, then the next question is, how do I make it sustainable? If your costs are too high in your trucking business and you go, this is not sustainable with these fuel prices, then what is the next thing you should do? You should ask yourself, how can I make it sustainable on these fuel prices? Because they may not change for the better. And then you make your adjustments. It's that's literally what people should be doing right now. The rates are sustainable, except if fuel goes up to $7 a mile or a gallon. Sorry, I meant a gallon. So you either got to say to yourself, well, what do I do if fuel never goes below $7 a gallon? What do I need to adjust to make this sustainable? If your insurance is too high, having your own authority, then is that sustainable? Will it get better? What do you do if it's not sustainable? So for you new carriers, what's that second year insurance quote look like? What's the third year insurance quote look like if you grew too fast? What's that insurance quote look like if you have two drivers that get put out of service? Two out of your three drivers. Is that sustainable? Do you have a plan if it becomes unsustainable? I'm not the brightest candle in the lamp here. And it's taken me a long time just to learn that process. So, and I attribute to the fact that I hang out with cool, good people that are interested in my, you know, in improving myself. Big Rick CO, I give him crap, but he says nope out of love, or he says yes, I'm a failure out of love. You know, there are people who would call you a failure if you called it a day, but most of these guys aren't the type of people who like your channel and the community that you've built here. That is true. And that's why their opinions matter none to me. Businesses in general, not you, Snorelord. If your goal was to be the man, how does that change? Right. No, I get what you were saying, SSD. I know that wasn't directed at me. Flora Bush, New York. Fura Bush. I'd go on Shark Tank and tell them I want to repo trucks and sell the parts. That might make more money doing that. Read where China back on lockdown is why fuel dropping. When they open back up, fuel will jump back up quick. Morning DIY. We're having a dose of reality this morning. So, good morning, final. Good luck. Dedicated freight. Kentucky to Texas and back. Direct customer. There you go, man. There you go. You know, and so those of you in the spot market, you know, there's two mentalities, right? There's this, the spot market is not sustainable for long periods, but I know people that are doing it. So you have to make it sustainable by being able to ride that roller coaster, as Big Rig CO pointed out yesterday. And so how do you make it sustainable? Bring your cost down and have a plan in place if your insurance gets too high, if fuel gets too high, if the rates drop to $1 a mile. What's your plan for that? And it can even be like, okay, if fuel hits $6 a gallon everywhere, and the rates hit $1.25 average, that's not sustainable for the industry. So, as long as I can survive that storm, so what do? You make adjustments. Like during the vid, I deferred 3 months of payments on my truck and trailer. That helped me sustain the low rates of when I was home not running. And then when I finally got back in the truck, I mean, I was only off for 10 days. I decided that this was not sustainable to sit at home. It was not sustainable for my mental health to stay at home. So if you're thirsty in the desert and you come upon a spigot of water, if it's dripping, just dripping, that's as long as it may not save your life, but it'll at least make it better for that moment. A little bit of water is better than no water at all in the desert. So same thing goes for business. If you're only making half of what you normally need right now and you could survive the storm, then that's all you got to do. And so you have to ask the question, well, is this sustainable for the next 6 months? Is this sustainable for the next, year? And there was a person on the Schneider Facebook page that was like, "Hey, I'm thinking about becoming a Schneider Finance truck lease guy, and what do I need? What money should I have set back?" And I said 3 months, and I answered. I said 3 months of home expenses, 3 months of business expenses, including truck payment, and I said your MMA should be covering your repairs and maintenance since your truck is under warranty. And so if that person does that, that's a lot of money though. I mean, that's just in truck payments alone, that's like $12,000. So if the guy really did the math, he probably didn't like that answer. He liked my comment, but I don't know if it did anything. And then so if your home bills are $5,000 a month, well now that's 15,000 you need for that. Because if that truck goes down under warranty or not, how long is it going to take to get the parts? I know a lot of people that are delaying truck repairs because they just don't have the parts. So they're trying to keep the truck running as much as possible. And the DOT knows that. They're inspecting these trucks a lot closer. They know that people aren't maintaining their trucks properly anymore. A lot of them aren't. So that's a lot of money. And so if people truly did that, that would be the difficulty in the entry level of this industry. What's up, Just Right in the Ozarks? I agree with you. Nice avatar. Helene says, my sister calls it reinventing yourself when you have to change course. As long as you're I mean, yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Trucking industry to slow has been too slow to adjust costing for companies. The national FAC is based minimum cost at $1.20 a gallon. Why? Fuel surcharge base should be updated every 5 years based average of past 5 years. DIY loves uncomfortable moments. Suicide hotline calls way up. That can't be good for the human race. Mental illness is up, guys. I mean, just watch TikTok and tell me I'm wrong. $1 a mile, South Bay, Florida, Pottsville, Pennsylvania already. I don't consider you a personal failure. I was just referring to your original goal. You are living your best life. That, my friend, is real success. Thank you, Big Greg. Was that you that texted me? Oh no, that was Jeff sending us our fuel prices. And so it's all right for goals to change. Like, let's say, Spectre was talking about I forget which live feed it was. He's in so many. But he was talking about how he wished he would have went straight to reefer when he created his carrier instead of dry van. And I mean, he learned through that experience, and now he's trying to replace all the trucks with reefers because he knows that's where he can make the most money. So I mean, it's but having the mindset to recognize that and learn from it, that's what separates a lot of people. Even contract freight is not stable. I agree. If a carrier loses a contract, that carrier often loses drivers as drivers join that carrier based on a contract. Trucking is complicated. Right. So, like, when Crete or Swift says, hey, We can put you on this dedicated Costco account, right? And you're like, oh, sweet, I could be home, every weekend and make $90,000 a year and not have a truck payment. Yeah, awesome. And then they lose that Costco account. And then what? Are you going to stay? So yeah, so the argument spot versus contract, that's a meaningless argument to me, because one's not better than the other. It also depends. Look, if I owned 10 trucks, I would want them to have contract freight because that's the best way to make those trucks make me money. But if I owned 10 trucks and then put them out in the spot market, that would be difficult. I'm not saying it can't be done, but it would definitely be difficult. There are agents at Landstar that own multiple trucks. There was one gal that was in a magazine that I read, that this is actually the magazine article that told my wife it was okay for me to buy a truck. And she saw that Landstar had, this gal wasn't an owner operator. She was at Landstar, but she was the truck owner was an agent that owned 30 trucks over at Landstar. And so when Landstar says, "Oh, we're 100% owner operator," well, technically that's true, but doesn't mean all the drivers are owner operators. And so guess what? That agent has a big book of business. They have dedicated freight, and that's why they bought the extra trucks, and that's why they put her on that. She makes good money, the agent makes good money, and then they could fill in the rest with the spot freight that comes in the Landstar system. To me, that's a good model. Having a combination. One backs up the other. When contracts are crap, spot makes up for it. When spot is crap, contract makes up for it. That's how I look at things. But what do I know? I really don't know that much. Late to the party, the right way to truck. I've been seeing a lot of abandoned equipment along my travels. Classifieds have a lot of fixer-upper trucks too. Yes, I agree with that. Yes, I agree. I agree, Dave. Do not watch TikTok. I think I heard Canada just extended its legal assisted self deletion laws to include mental illness. Dystopian witty, yep. You continue to impress me. Got to go now. Good feed. Thank you, Ratman. I don't I don't know how I'm impressing you, but you impress me, Terry. You impress me, so thank you. Pale Rider, you get in the truck yet? Big Pharma has been doing it slowly with opioids in this country for decades now. I agree. That's a different topic. Dry van was never meant to be lucrative as it was the last 3 years. It caught a lot of people messing up. Before the vid, dry van was always known as the lowest totem pole in the freight business. Um, it's also the easiest to enter. You go out and Billy Bob's farm, get that cab over running, hook up to a dry van that's 20 years old, long as it's passes the DOT inspection, and let her rip, right? I miss those days. But anyways, now nowadays you need that truck to be updated to where they could use an ELD, because they all want tracking. You better have a cell phone because they all want tracking, and your reefer better work good, or else you're going to have a cargo claim on 40,000 pounds of ice cream. That's a little bit more difficult to manage than Billy Bob getting his farm truck and pulling a 20-year-old van. So it's always been, van has always been the lowest of the totem pole. So and look, if that's all you want, that's great. Okay. However, you got to recognize the fact that you have more competition, and that you're going to have a lot more people that aren't the brightest candles running dry van freight. And so it's just part of the nature. It's like, again, I keep using football analogies. I promise you I'm not a football fanatic. But if you don't want to be tackled, don't play the game. Same thing with the brokers. There are good brokers, there are bad brokers. I had to cancel a load today for somebody. And I'm sure that broker and I put, hey, we're going to have repair receipts. I apologize. You know, and you know he could be sitting there doing a YouTube channel right now about how drivers are scum. So I mean, these arguments are invalid. You have to look at yourself. You have to look at what you're doing. Look and surround yourself with good people. I don't know how to convey that any clearer. Surround yourself with good people that are interested in your well-being, whether it's physical, mental, financial. That that's the level that you need to be at. TBT, what's up? W-2 drivers who stick with the company through good and bad times become a valuable resource for a carrier. However, job jumping is the norm in all industries. Yep. And look, I know a carrier that's losing a really good driver. Um, his mindset is right. His heart is in the right place, but external things just went against this person. And and it's been hard on him. And I wish I could put this person in my truck. That's how much I believe in this person, because it's so hard to find good drivers. There are people that apply for like trucking that never, once they're approved, they never return phone calls. They just kind of disappear, or you have a conversation with them and you figure out, wow, okay, this ain't a good idea. You know, finding good drivers is very, very. If you own a truck and you have a driver in it and it's a really great driver, you need to do everything that you can to keep that driver, because good drivers are hard to find. Pale Rider, nowhere on the truck yet. Well, that sucks. Is that contract freight slows down like auto industry? Right. It depends on the kind of contract freight. Thomas Wilson, who's not in here, he's always bragging about his contract freight. Well, I mean, it's two products that are in high demand: beverages and packaging. Because regardless of what the economy's doing, people still love their Carbolicious, and they need to ship stuff from, they need to get shipping stuff from Amazon. Nevada, good morning. Damn, I run dry van sometimes. I'm a dimly candle. Okay, I'm back. Sage, you just literally missed the meat of this sandwich here. Oh wait, you're a vegan. You just missed the big part of the video. I'm rambling. We haven't even looked at a low board yet. I hated hauling dry van in my reefer, but rates kept me fluctuating constantly. Um, Sunday, I was on the 123 low board looking at loads. I clicked on a couple out of curiosity to see more detail. Then Monday, out of the blue, I get a phone call from a broker ready to put me to work. Yeah, I mean, look, the brokers are fixing to lose a lot of their volume, so they're trying to create relationships now, so they don't have loads canceled, because they're holding on tight to their contracts, and anything that could cause them to lose their contracts, they want no part of that. I know a broker that lost a big contract with a big manufacturer because of a bad carrier. And I'm sure CDN's got some stories as well. Brokers should be forcing drivers to use their tracking app. It oversteps contractor relationship. It is ongoing load cancellations and poor tracking communication what's caused this. Look, their brokers are now putting fines on the rate con. Like, in other words, like, you do a load for 1,000, they're like, okay, this load actually pays 800, but you get 100 for tracking and 100 for on-time delivery. I'm seeing more and more rate cons that look like that. CN, I can get an extra $100 to use tracker. Yeah, Shannon just proved what I said. The good ones are driving Pro Stars, shows true grit, being beat up all day. Oh, Sean, that's funny. Yeah, if they're running, Sean, I can throw that back at you. TL Stock. Nice avatar. Morning. I'm sure trucking has to be a difficult industry to successfully navigate and read. What with all the outside variables and crippling regulations. I'm reading for you all. Well, thank you, TL Stock, and thank you for being a new member. It's it is. I mean, most look, I don't open my record store that I want because it's not sustainable for what I need. There's too many things against, and I think that trucking, it's just like any other business. You gotta recognize that when it's not sustainable. And that's kind of what this video is about. You can either punt the ball and fall back, or you can see what can I do to make it sustainable. And that's a question that most people don't even ask themselves. So when they go out of business, they don't know why. Or they blame it on the brokers, or they blame it on the fuel, or they blame it on the rates. Or they blame it on the trucking manufacturers. I live and breathe by my motto: I am only as good as my last load to the customer. Sage says, listen, if you are a carrier for more than 2 years and don't have direct customers or brokers that know your name, then fire your sales department. I do have several brokers that know my name, and they tell me things. And sometimes that's the only way I get by with this dispatch. The days that I have to make 50 phone calls are brutal. The days that I have to make 3 and make all my money for the week, that's my goal. And I accomplish that at times. And other days I'm like, I'm just an idiot with a phone trying my best. So that you want honesty, that's it. Some days, I kick ass, and other days I'm what am I doing here? What I'm gonna go start up the truck. So because the truck is my comfort zone, right? I'm out of my comfort zone. So I'm trying to improve on that. If they don't run, call your SFI rep. They'll call dealer every 2 hours. It's like they want that payment every week, I swear. Our fleet manager just asked us yesterday if we wanted a USPS lane, East Coast to West Coast, same lanes, 6,000 miles a week. Is that a good idea to accept asking for a friend? Look, right now I'm seeing in the spot market a lot of brokers are posting dedicated post office lanes. And so there's something to that. Where there's smoke, there's fire. So it's obvious that the post office is trying to save some money because the spot is lower than contract right now. So if it makes things sustainable for you, TBT, then that's consistency. I mean, the mail never stops, right? So if you're up to those challenges and it's good money for you, then I don't see why not. And I know you're not even an owner operator, so it's not like it's do or die whether you do or not. So it just depends on if those miles are good and if you can handle the workload. Because I know that teaming mail can be sometimes a lot of work. I believe Nevada's doing that. And yeah, Nevada brings up the coast to coast in the winter, so that you'll have those challenges as well. But as Shannon said, it depends on the numbers. So, anyways, do you guys want to look at low board stuff, or are we done? because I've been rambling for an hour now. I can only show you the green states for so long before you guys finally get the message. Stay in the Midwest if you can. If not, then figure it out. Thanks for the feedback. You're welcome. CDN says the days that you only make 3 calls to achieve your goals is great. Key is make those 12 calls every day to build your relationship and network so you cover your trucks 3 calls every day. That's what I'm trying to do. But the instability, I mean, look, you have brokerages laying off people, right? So it's possible that your awesome, cool rep that you have might be going away soon. So the ability to adapt and adjust to that is more important than it's just as important as creating those contacts. I've got a broker that texts me every morning. I've done like 1 load for him because we can never make anything work. But you know what? That dude's trying still. TBT says, no, USPS across Wyoming South route is good. That's kind of what I was thinking. If I had to go coast to coast, I'd be like making 10 and 20 my bitch, right? Yeah, there's no there's snow in the Midwest. Everybody run Florida, Georgia. Everybody do that. Chucky, you're funny. So let's look at a low board, and maybe we'll look here. We'll do something. We'll do more than just look at a low board. We'll do this here, and then I got to get to work. All right, so let's look at, since Shannon's in the room, let's look at van loads out of Miami, shall we? Miami. We'll say Oklahoma. There's Miami, Oklahoma. I go there all the time, but Miami, Florida. We're going to up the deadhead radius to 250 miles. Going anywhere for van. The date will be, when are you going to be there, Shannon? You going to be there tomorrow? We'll do tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. We'll do that. How's that? 250-mile radius. And the answer is 178 loads. Awesome. So let's immediately go to the highest rate. Here we go. Here's Miami to Oklahoma City. 1,400 miles. They're offering 1825. The average is 1610. So they're above the average. So I wonder what's up with this. Red Bull can. So you got to have a plate trailer. That's going to be light. Well, it says 43,813 on the pound, so it must be full Red Bull. So now you got to watch freeze protect. Make sure that you're not going somewhere cold, which Miami to Oklahoma, you probably be okay. But that's a high commodity. So where's that coming out of? That's coming right out of Miami. It says it picks up, well, tomorrow at 9 a.m. So there's that option. But then you're on, so 1,400 miles. What's that? 3 days? 3 days drive? 2.5. It says it delivers December 2nd. So that's Friday. So if you deliver it December 2nd, man, that's tight. 9 a.m. So, but if it's delivering at a beverage place, there's probably some leniency on the delivery time. I would call the broker and ask him. But then you need to get this rate up a little bit, but be realistic. Don't sit there like, I need $2 a mile, and then get hung up on. But I would try to pick something shorter. So let's go. If you pick something in Illinois, it's going to be an even worse rate, $1.11 a mile, and that's above the average. The average is $1.04. So, So let's look at these shorty lows. Here's Groveland, Florida, 218-mile deadhead to Louisiana. Pepsi Logistics picks up at 1:20 a.m. Well, that's a dog. 622 miles. They need it there by 5:30 the next day. So you're running overnights on that one, and it's only paying 750. But at least, but see, now you got to look at the LA market. So let's look at the LA market. It says 81 loads from Louisiana to anywhere. So I don't know. I'd look. I don't know. I don't like the market in Louisiana. And then here's a bunch of loads picking up north, going back south. So you can bounce around for a minute if you want. That's where your big rate per mile is. Here we go. South Bay, Florida to Lithia Springs, Georgia. That puts you in a little bit better area. So it keeps you from deadheading, but they're only offering 86 cents a mile. Now people are like, well, that's not sustainable. Well, it's not. You don't want to run your whole business with that, but I would try to get them up a little bit. And then, but that still puts you in Georgia, which is a better area than Florida, but not the best area. So it just depends on how you look at all this. Now, if you decide you're going to go straight back to Michigan from Miami, you're going to pay for that. Actually, that's less miles than going to Oklahoma. So if you're going to go long, go back to where there's a good market, and Michigan's a good market, right? There's 333 loads going from Michigan to anywhere. So if you can get them up on this rate, that might be worth it. Or you grab that load to Lithia Springs instead of deadheading, and then out of Lithia Springs do another short hop. I mean, there's 10 different ways you can do this. Now, if you've got a dedicated route you got to get back to, which I know Shannon does not, then you have no choice but to take one of these back, or go home empty. Which that's to me that's not a good sustainable action, unless the timing keeps you from doing your moneymaker load, which you have to weigh the options, right? Then a lot of these aren't posted rates. So um, here we go, Miami to Fulton. A lot of loads coming out of Miami, surprisingly. That's surprising to me because I really don't. I've never gone to Miami and never will, unless someone wants to pay for a vacation for me. So that's 1,300 miles. Fulton, Missouri is a good spot. It's light, so your cost per mile is going to be a lot better. So this is something I would consider. And there's 120 loads coming out of Fulton. So, and it's not a bad trek, map wise. Now, your bigger money maker is going to be this one, Miami to Monroe Township, because not everybody in Miami wants to go back to Jersey, right? And Monroe Township's not too bad. That might be Costco. Yep, grocery. So that's going to be Costco. Literally 2 turns off the turnpike there, or the toll road, and there's one of those travel plazas nearby. There's the Bordentown um, uh, Petro that you can pay for a parking spot, so you'll have parking. And of course, Jersey, you can get out of there. So you could probably get your best rate per mile there. So let's see what the average is. $1.47. So it's about, see, and I don't look at that number as much as the percentage increase, right? So that's $1.47 versus $1.26. That's what's the percentage on that more. So that makes it a more valuable lane. Shannon says snow brings her money. Well, not now. And oh yeah, let's play get the girl out of Miami on Wednesday. I deliver on the 1st. So that's Thursday. Well, that's good. If you're going to land in Miami, Thursday is a good day because if you have to deadhead up to Jacksonville to grab something that's decent, then you at least got your day. And then so essentially what you can do is, hey, what do you got on Friday, and look at and broaden your range, right? So let's do that. So let's do a new search now that we've got your date. Let's adjust this. So take that off, apply, and then let's expand our radius to 500 miles. Search. So within a 500-mile radius, there's 138 loads for just Thursday. Actually, you're going to want to no. Let me fix that. We want Friday. We'll do Thursday and Friday. $250 loads. So that brings it down. So, and you can adjust this. So like here's one Thursday, Jacksonville, Florida to Carlsbad, California. Oh man, it's actually $1.90 a mile. Wow. To go from Florida to California. Wow. I wonder if it's multiple stop. Let's click on that one. That's piqued my curiosity. Auto parts. 3,300 pounds of hazmat. There you go. Can't do it if you don't have hazmat. See, if there's big money on a lane that's lower, then there's a reason. It's either hazmat or it's like 20 stops. The sweet spot is finding something with 2 or 3 stops that doesn't like make the load not great on rate per day. So here's Pooler, Georgia. That picks up Thursday, so that doesn't do any good because that's a 442-mile deadhead going up to Brownstown, Michigan. So okay. So let's talk about that. Let's say this picked up Friday. Now, if you grab one of those loads from Miami to Georgia, and then from Georgia to somewhere, or from Miami up to Michigan, you can look at that, or look at your all miles, and you have to include the load that you just pulled down there. And a lot of people say, "Well, I refuse to go out of Florida for $1.50 a mile, so I will deadhead up to Georgia and get $1.70." Well, if you do the all miles, you're still like below $1.20. See what I mean? So that whole mentality it's very interesting to me, because if you do the all miles, then how bad does that hurt, right? So that's kind of how I look at it. Well, people say, well, you spend less money in fuel. Okay, so if you take a big paying load down there and you do something that at least covers your fuel costs for the day, then you keep all the profit from the previous load. So if your fuel costs are 80 cents a mile and you grab something for $1.50 and not deadhead 500 miles to pull that $1.50, then that just helps the numbers. Because deadheading thousands of miles a week or a month is not sustainable unless the original loads pay so well it averages out in the wash. Like, for example, I know somebody that did a load for 16 grand going out to California. They didn't like anything coming back, so he just deadheaded back. And you know what? The all miles was still pretty impressive. So in that situation, yes, deadhead can be your friend. But it's a situational decision. Now, emotionally, you're like, screw that, I'm deadheading out of here. That's an emotional decision. And if you can justify it on a logistical decision, then that's okay. Here's the kicker: no loads from my approved brokers. 0. Yeah, that's going to be tough. With the looming rail strike, do you foresee brokers upping rates for a short period only? It's hard to comment on that because I don't know much about that. I know that there were a couple excerpts on FreightWaves that said that if there is an actual rail strike, it won't be long. So I don't think it's going to be the big moneymaker that's going to save anybody's business, because there are a lot of people in the trucking world that want that to happen. So our rates and volumes go back up. But the reality is there are forces at play that are going to keep that from happening one way or another. So if you're it's kind of like being the minimum wage guy, hoping that you get a good tax return, so you can pay your bills. It's kind of like that. You don't want to be in that position. Most shippers are smarter than they appear. Think about how they know what a plate is. Their entire production and efficiency of an entire plant is based on plate trailers. Them are some deep thoughts. Gary, what's up? Glad to see you. Bill, what's up? Steve, get some open deck drivers. I'm not going to use low board anymore. Okay. I was at the Costco depot today. I love Costco. Alex Mai hangs out in the 595 truck stop near Miami. Go visit him, Shannon. Yeah, that's a good idea, Shannon. That'll boost your channel as well. I've got his number. I'll hook you guys up. Pigtail, what's up? Charles Spray, can you look and see what's coming out of Oklahoma? What part of Oklahoma? And also, is it van? Give me a city and a trailer platform, please, and a date. I'm going to have to get back to work here in a minute, guys. Pigtail, did you watch that video I sent you last night? I hope you did. I almost threatened to not go live until I knew you watched it, because I know how much you love my live feeds. Central. So, Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City for van for what day? We could do we can do tomorrow and Friday. How's that? That's what we got. So let's do search. 49 loads. Oh, let's see what the deadhead. I did 150-mile radius. So, okay. All right. You got Wichita Falls, Clinton, Ponca City. Let's see what this one is. Springfield, Illinois. It's actually paying pretty decent. 553 miles for 1,600. That's a good rate coming out of Oklahoma. And Illinois is a good spot. Hopefully there's not multiple stops on that. So, see what the credit looks like. 98 according to trans credit. They're not pre-approved. You'd have to call Thunder Funding to see if they're approved. If you use Thunder Funding, if you don't, then you see the credit score there. So I got to get this microphone in a different spot. Great show today, Steve. Loads and quotes are calling. Well, it's your fault, CDN. Your video got me thinking about a lot of things. So, anyways, we'll have a chat later. Let's see. Now here's Wichita Falls to Salt Lake. That's paying pretty good. 257 a mile. Flat glass and racks. Loads by appointment. So I know what that is. Oh wait, no, that's Wichita Falls, so I don't. But they're paying pretty good. But you got to look in the market in Salt Lake. So let's scroll down here. Look at their credit score, 72. Yeah, it's probably not a good load. Again, if you see a high rate on something that's way above the value, there's always a reason. One of them could be it's multiple stop. 2, it could be hazmat. 3, it's because the broker's about ready to call it a day, and they're just putting high rates to cover the loads, and then they go home with the money and you get nothing. See what's and there's 14 loads coming out of Salt Lake for a backhaul going anywhere. So it's probably not a good idea to do that. Unless you live in Salt Lake, then you're like, hell yeah, I got some money if they pay you. Here's another one. Oklahoma to Colorado. 243 a mile. That's curse. They should be all right. But now you're dealing with weather, right? So you got to think about that. You're going to go up what? From Clinton? Yeah, it looks like you're going to take 40, 287. Or no, it's got you taking up 25. So you got to watch the weather on that one. Loveland might be Walmart. 41,000 pounds. So you'd have to watch for freeze protect as well. I would definitely get more money than that, though. I'd be up at $3 a mile on that one. And then there's 50 loads coming out of Loveland, Colorado, going anywhere. So that's kind of how I look at it. Good luck at the doctor. Cool trucking. So Shannon, you're screwed. And Charles, you have a lot of options. So Nevada says, great show. Love the morning show. Thank you, Nevada. I appreciate you. I appreciate the shout outs you've given me, and I appreciate the beatings you have taken here lately. It's made for good YouTube. But guys, I'm gonna end this feed here pretty soon. So you can either listen to my words or you can just ignore them. I don't care. My ego doesn't need to be fed. If what I say is wrong, then I apologize. And if what I say is right and it offends you, then I apologize as well. I'm a realist. I look at everything from a different viewpoint on everything. Logistics, politics, the mental health of this country is deteriorating rapidly. And a lot of these people are business owners, and their decisions could affect your decisions. And so it's most important to remain calm, figure out what's going to work, and have the ability to make it work, whether it be through mindset or other advantages. So with that being said, anywhere except where I want to go, LOL. So Ralph, what's up, man? Glad to see you. So anyways, I'm going to end this feed now. Thank you for watching. Strength for today. Hope for tomorrow. Bang your head. Peace.